The XRP saga has been going on for quite a long time now. It's been 2 years actually since the first kind of SEC filing came to everyone's attention. But just to take a step back for 1 second, basically why this whole XRP lawsuit came about was the SEC was saying it's a security, and XRP never, before they listed XRP, they never said, hey, this is a security, so they couldn't list it, and therefore the investment that was made in it should be null and void and should be shut down. XRP is saying it's more of a currency. And the reason why they're saying that is because really what Ripple does, XRP, what they do is provide a infrastructure for financial institutions, governments, businesses to basically set up, different types of economies with what they're doing with crypto. So whether it's cross-border payments, or they need instant settlement with crypto liquidity, or they've actually done this with smaller countries already, like they've fully implemented it with smaller countries, is they have infrastructure to set up CBDCs, so central bank digital currencies. So they're basically looking to be the main provider of basically B2B crypto infrastructure going into the future. And so a lot of what they're doing is really on the currency side, and that's kind of where the main argument is coming from. But 2 updates that happened recently was on September 29th, XRP had filed to have a particular transcript that is supposed to basically show how the SEC really did see it as a currency in the beginning. They're going to release that transcript now. The judge actually on September 29th said, we're going to release the transcript. So it's of this SEC official, William Hinman, and his documents that he was going back and forth with these folks early on in the case. So that was a big win for them. The second big win was that they're actually going to, so the judge and the court basically said they're going to start allowing outside entries into the case. So what that means is that they can actually have people and companies come in and advocate for Ripple who have either used it or experienced it, and kind of speak to how it isn't a security. So they're going to have these companies come in and basically start talking about and advocating for Ripple. So that's kind of some of the big reason why we saw, and those annoying spin wheels are really distracting. But basically
targeted
that's
ads, man. What are you looking at?
Yeah. What are we looking at? I'm trying to gamble with this market. I just need to go to a casino. That's my best ROI. So that's kind of what's been going on, and why Ripple has been pumping, because first of all, they didn't think that they were going to get this approved. They thought that the judge was going to rule that it was basically like conflict of interest having some of these clients and potential clients come in and advocate for the Ripple team and the fact that it's a currency. But they not only approved that, they also approved getting that transcript that the SEC was trying to hide from them. So that's, some major big wins on the lawsuit front. In terms of what's coming next, it's really just going to be, honestly, the best way to categorize it, like just some boring, like lawyer stuff. Like basically right now, it's going to be like releasing of files, starting to kind of do more of a data dump. But they're basically having both parties kind of file new materials and show these kind of transcripts that they've unlocked. And, basically every week for the next, 2 months leading up to the end of 2022, there's going to be, some of these kind of court actions going on and files coming through. And so what the CEO of XRP was saying is that he is kind of predicting, him and his team are basically running the business as if this will be done midway through 2023. So that's kind of like what investors have been taking into account, and why we've been seeing it kind of have some pretty crazy price action. I think it was up like 50-60% in a week, just about a week ago. And it had been pretty stagnant up until that point, but we had those 2 positive outcomes on the lawsuit. And then not only that, one last thing I wanted to share before we get into more of a discussion is that Ripple actually signed 2 agreements recently. So one with a company called Lemonway, which is a marketplace, and they use basically a payment processing system that's based in France. They also did the same thing in Sweden. So they're basically taking their on-demand liquidity product, the one that we looked at before, that crypto liquidity product, and offering that and signing contracts with these companies. So like they have like dozens of customers already. Like it's already like something that's in action, something that has use cases. And again, they're like expecting to hire 300 people throughout this whole 2022 year. They're on track to do that. So by December of this year, they're going to be hiring 300 total. So like they're still moving fundamentally. Like they have customers that are getting benefit out of it. They're going to come testify in the court case. And so things are moving and things are looking pretty positive for them. It seems like, the last 2 weeks were kind of a turning point where I think a lot of people thought XRP was just going to flat out lose the case.
That's pretty awesome to hear. And I think there's probably like a lot to unpack there, but it's something just off of what you just said about payment systems in France and other areas in Europe. This is something we'll talk about in this episode here, but Swift is really what's used for that cross-border payment system, right? It's something that already exists. It's something that feels like it's been used. It has been used against Russia in this most recent Ukraine war, against Iran with some of their nuclear deals that we've had, or not agreeing with or not going by the standards. So this is like very real, utility here, and something why I think what we're going to see is talk about is why Swift wants to move onto Chainlink to start to bring their data on chain, because you see XRP already being able to do this, already being able to bring this to other customers in France, and I think Switzerland was the other one you said, or
Sweden.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I guess, see, a question for you. What does a win look like for this XRP case? Is it just to be listed on certain exchanges again, or what else could they gain coming out of this?
So it's that so they want the SEC to recognize XRP not as a security, but as a currency. And so that would be the big win, because they essentially, the play for XRP is not at all B2C. Like it's not at all like, oh, we need faster transactions per second. We need to be able to integrate with DeFi apps. We need to be able to be user friendly. That's important to a certain extent, but right. What they're trying to capture is essentially, there's been a lot of studies about the movement to CBDCs. And so like there's this white paper that they have on their website where they talk about how most CFOs and most heads of finance for countries and governments see CBDCs, so central bank digital currencies, as like the way that the world is going to be moving forward. So Ripple basically is thinking, hey, if we're the first one that can implement it easily for countries and provide the infrastructure, like we're going to explode. So essentially the first company to make it easy for a country to transition over to a central bank digital currency and actually issue their own digital currency. That's kind of the biggest market they're playing off of. Like they also want to be a cross-border payment facilitator as well, but that comes with the CBDC. So they're all about making it easier for like institutions and then also like these larger governments to get on board with crypto and actually customize it the way that they want.
Right.
And I feel like CBDCs could be an entire episode that we actually go into, like the pros and cons of it, what the difference is, right? And some of the companies that are helping with it. I know XLM or Stellar Lumens is another one that's been up there. I think, Evan, to your point, like a win for XRP is obviously a win for XRP, but really at stake in this Ripple case specifically is really a standard that could start to be applied to other token projects, right? So if XRP wins, there could be standing for continuing token sales to fund decentralized project development. Like it's ultimately going to fall really upon the legal system to determine what XRP buyers thought they were buying in the first place. And it's interesting because all of this happened before Gary Gensler, who's been the one who's been pushing a lot of this regulation, actually stepped in to start to do that. So I think a win for XRP is great as a win for XRP, but it's also going to kind of set that standard here moving forward, which makes this case really, really important just for this space in general.
Yeah, and I think, one of the biggest things that I did, and I've just learned more as I've covered it more, but like it really falls, like the SEC case has taken up so much of the spotlight around Ripple that people forget that it actually is like an operating company. Like I mean, like it has customers, like it has case studies, it has use cases. You know, I mean, they have NGO partners across 80 countries across the world. So like it's a real company. It's just it's been under this microscope of SEC lawsuit, like all this kind of stuff. So it's made investors not want to invest. It's been taken off exchanges. And so people are getting really speculative going into next year of like, okay, well, what if we basically like release the Kraken where now it's on exchanges, it has real world utility, which most cryptos don't. I think we wish more crypto had real world utility out the gate, but a lot of them don't. And so it's going to be interesting to kind of see how they bounce back next year if they get a good ruling.